Alright, hello YouTube. So today I have a comparison video. This is going to be a comparison between the Cold Steel Samurai 3 Trailmaster, and also this is going to be the MTECH Trailmaster clone. It actually has, oh okay, there it is. It is the MT-151 USA design. Alright, so this is just going to be a comparison video. I'll do kind of a review of both knives. And so first off, I want to talk about the Cold Steel Trailmaster. I bought this at a pawn shop probably over 10 years ago for $189. I think they actually thought they had the cheaper Cold Steel, so that's why they had this price, and it was essentially brand new. This has the convex edge, which is way different than the SK5 version that I also had, which was Chinese made. This is a Japanese made, and this is a really good knife. But one of the reasons why I think this knife is so attractive is really my bad experience with this knife. And so first off, I do believe this is a great knife, but one day when me and my brother, we were skinning a deer, we were wanting to remove the front legs of the deer a little bit before the joint, so that way we could pick up the shoulder area very easily and that sort of thing, and everything would fit in the cooler. And so this is a task I've done with my Cold Steel Kukri machete with no problems. Okay, I've done this with no problems, and with the Cold Steel Kukri machete, the edge was great. Maybe it was dull, but the edge was just fine. And if something did happen to the edge, well, guess what? It's a $20 machete. It's a very soft steel, so it's going to be just fine. So here I am. Oh, okay, I got a $200 Cold Steel Trailmaster. I've seen it go through all this, beef and bone on the proof videos and so. So I'm like, this is going to be nothing for this Cold Steel Trailmaster. So I had this deer leg, and boom, I chopped into it. And then I looked down, and a huge, like, you see where my thumb is? Like a huge chunk was taken out of that VG1. That VG1 steel is stainless, and it's also relatively hard, okay? So if it would have been the SK5, it might have chipped, but you can't tell unless you do it. I don't think it would have chipped so bad. And so I had to, by hand, remove that huge chip. All right, it wasn't a roll, it was a chip. And really, all the super steels and everything, there's steels better than other steels, but I am more fond of the AUS 8s, the SK5s, the 1080s, even some of the 1095s. When you're really hard using something, it's going to roll rather than chip, because this thing, not only did it chip, but it chipped big time. All right, still love the knife, still think it's great. But for that very reason, that's why you might want something like this MTECH. Rather than $200, which really, this is more like a $300 knife, $350 knife now. Maybe even more expensive with the 3V. The 3V might not have done that. I've never messed with 3V before. But this is a $22 knife. So one of the problems, just first off, is when you grip it, the grip feels great, but the grip is actually too soft. The Cold Steel, it's perfect. The grip feels great. This grip is too soft. Out of the box, the tip was blunt, and so I had to get my belt sander, and I took some off the top, and now it is a very functional point. Doing that, I also had to strip off the black coating in order to make it just look very well and good. The edge on this thing wasn't all that great. I believe this is a 420 or 440. It's a 400 stainless steel, and so it was very easy to sharpen with very very minimal amount of tools. Now, I got my professional knife making belt sharpener after this and got a beautiful edge on it, but it's super sharp. Another thing too is that the fittings aren't perfect. You see that gap? I'm not sure if you can see it, but between the guard and the tang of the blade, there are actually some gaps. Also, the brass lanyard hole does not fit the Kraton handle perfectly, okay? But that being said, we're going to do a little bit of testing today. If this will hold up, I think it is a beautiful buy. I also think that, you know, for the money, if you just completely wanted to blunt the edge and completely remove it and just do practice drills with it, you know, build up your wrist strength and all that. Again, even if this does not survive the test today, I think this would still be a good knife to train your wrist and go over some drills if you completely blunt the edge. Okay, so that's both knives, and that's the review. And so now I just want to do a little bit of, let's go into the sheaths real quick. Okay, so this is the Cold Steel Trailmaster, very nice Cadora sheath. And my preferred carry method is not really to use the loop. There's nothing wrong with the loop, but I just slip it in like that. And you can just simply draw it from a cross draw. So that's how I like to do that. You know, if I was really hiking miles upon miles, you might want to loop it, but that feels very secure to me. I don't think it's going anywhere. So this sheath is very flexible. Let's do that again. This sheath is not flexible. All right, so that's some of those details. I mean, a $22 knife, that's, you know, that's just part of it, okay? But that being said, the sheath fits. And you're really not going to cut yourself with it. So again, slips right there. You can draw it out the same way. All right. So with that, the first test that I want to perform is just kind of a machete test. All right, so let's do the cold steel first. Here we just have some light vegetation. Okay, although it's very sharp, this isn't going to be the best machete because of its weight, all right? But again, if you're hiking and you only got one knife and you want to split logs and all that sort of thing, it's going to do, it's kind of like the multi-tool. It's a weapon, it's a tool, it works like a machete. So obviously that's what it's designed for, is to cover a whole variety, range of tasks. I mean, you know, I wouldn't want to do it, but you could skin with it. All right, so that's part of what Bowie knives do, is they kind of do everything. All right, so this is the MTECH. Virtually no difference in performance. All right, so now let's go on to soft target testing. This is something I'm trying out. I'm just going to put a cut resistant glove on, and since I have it, might as well use my safety glasses. So if you watch King of the Hill, I'll put in a clip. You know, your safety glasses may make you look cool, but ultimately they're there to protect you. So I'll insert that clip now.
Now, remember everybody, goggles might make you look cool, but they're also part of proper safety attire.
All right, so the first test I want to do is just kind of a penetration test. I want to use this Cold Steel Vaquero Voyager as kind of a control. Obviously this is a much thinner blade, and so when it comes to penetration, very good. Woo! So Cold Steel Trailmaster, That's actually going to be an interesting video in itself. This is the Vaquero. All right, wouldn't want that hole in me, but you definitely don't want that in you. All right, let's do that again.
Put your fingers by the blade and see how deep the penetration is. So.
Okay, there we go.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, I'm just not going to be able to do that.
Yeah. Let's see.
There's the goo. So I would say over probably about 55% of the way. All right. And obviously, if I went downward with gravity in this nice base, it's just going to go all the way through. But that's not the point of the test. So let's turn it. Okay. Another respectable size hole. Another thing too, this is 5/16 of an inch thick. I don't have a measuring tape, but this is probably about 1/4 inch thick. So they are not the same dimension in their thickness. So that's probably 60 to 65% of the blade. I'm just going to give the Trailmaster another go. Really hard stab. Okay. So really, if you put enough force, it's going to go, which is expected. So now let's just do a soft target test. Very nice slice. Same test for the MTECH. Another respectable slice. Let's do another slice. See if I can kind of pry that open. Trailmaster. And honestly, I can't feel much of a difference, which, you know, it's a soft target. Just for control, cold steel Vaquero. Okay. That is kind of cool. Obviously, this is a 7-ounce knife. Okay, that's cool. That's really good information right there. The Trailmaster is going to be the heaviest, but even with something a little bit lighter, such as an MTECH, this is, you know, when it comes to fighting, when it comes to martial arts, that's going to make a huge difference. So it's a very good test between something like a Trailmaster clone and something that's very easy to carry in the pocket. It would be interesting if I had my Cold Steel Raja 2, that's a kukri, and is a little bit bigger than this, if it would actually cut through that. All right, so we might actually get the Raja out here in a second and try that. So now we're going to move over to the Fallen Tree of Truth, and the point is not to get through this tree. I'm just going to deliver some very heavy blows with each Bowie knife and see if they survive. This isn't batoning, it's just heavy chopping, and so I know this is going to survive. We don't really know that, so that's why we're going to test it. So let's go ahead and do that first. And how many should I do? 10 or?
10 will be sufficient.
Okay. And I'm just going to, should I?
Yeah, start anew.
Let's start anew. Okay. Felt good in my hand. That's the nice thing about these Kraton grips, is they do absorb a good bit of shock. Nothing's loose. And it's not about the damage. As one of our favorite TV shows, it's what will the target do to the knife. So I think that passed with flying colors. All right, here we go. Okay, so I did feel a little bit of something.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So this Kraton grip is just super, super, super soft. So the guard has loosened up.
Do that again. All right.
Trying to get the focus. There we go.
The guard has loosened up. So number one thing, the guard was never placed on as perfectly as the Trailmaster. I know with my strength, you won't be able to see it with the camera, but with my strength, I can make this guard just slightly go down. I don't even know if you can see that.
No.
But I can feel it, and I can see the tang just get a little bit bigger. All right. And so first off, this guard was never placed on this knife as good as that Trailmaster. And the second thing, which I think is probably the biggest contributing factor, is that this Kraton is just way too soft. It's just way too soft. If I put this in my mouth and took a bite out of it, I couldn't do it. I probably wouldn't even be able to really mark it unless I had a lot of adrenaline in me. This Kraton right here, if I put it in my mouth, I would definitely be able to make a mark with it. And so this Kraton is just very soft. And so therefore the tang is going to come down. But that being said, it's a $22 knife. You know, I'm not, you know, I can't baton this. I don't have anything to really baton into, but for $22, I don't really see passing this up.
Yeah.
There's so many drills that you could do with it. It would be a wonderful defensive Bowie knife. For a self-defense context, you know, which is really, it's kind of a mythical idea because you'd have to have this on you and that sort of thing. This is going to stab, this is going to chop into, I mean, you know, think how tough this log is. There's nothing out there that's, you know, it's biological, you know, and it doesn't have plant cells that's as tough as this log, all right? This is going to be able to get through, all right? So, I wouldn't pass this up. It's probably the best $25 Bowie you could get out there. Would you think so, Austin?
Yes, I've had cheap buoys in the past, you know, Bud K style buoys, and this one definitely seems like it's more useful. And I've actually attempted to skin a deer with one of those Bud K style buoys. It wasn't from Bud K, but you know, it was, you could tell that it was kind of that same style. And this one seems to actually perform a little bit better than my D-Guard Confederate buoy that I had.
So you could easily cut this handle off, and you could like put some custom handle, you know, wood or whatever it is. You could probably you get some super strong duct tape or whatever. I mean, I'm probably just going to keep my handle on there, but this isn't necessarily a deal breaker. If you want something that's going to be this cheap and it's going to be wilderness tough, I would go with like the Cold Steel Machete buoy. All right. I'd rather have the Kukri machete, but you know, as far as buoy knives go, but you know, pick one of these up, play with it, see what you think.
I definitely don't think you got ripped off.
Yeah, I did. I definitely got more than what I paid. I got what I paid for, but I think I'm getting a little bit more than what I'm paying for. I mean, you think about it, like, if I had that deer, okay, and I was taking off its leg, is it going to get through that leg? Absolutely, 100%. Is the edge going to be banged up? Probably, okay? But think about this. This is a $200, $300 Bowie knife. And with that deer leg, there was that huge, almost half a dime taken out of it. You remember that?
I do remember it.
I don't have any pictures of it because I was kind of ashamed of it.
And not only that, it was before the iPhone, it was before YouTube.
Yeah, and so I like this Trailmaster. You know, if you want a good Bowie knife that's kind of more outdoor friendly, pick up a Trailmaster. But if you're going to do that, go ahead and get you one of these $20 ones for your really nasty work. Something that you don't care if it's going to get damaged. You don't care, because I think it's probably going to hold up for you. You have any comments, Austin?
Yeah, my brother suggested this. Get like a Bowie like that, spray paint it blaze orange or yellow, and use it as a giant dive knife.
Yeah, because it's 440C.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know, it can rust, but it's ultimately not going to like rust to heck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could spray paint it orange, and you know, even if your tip broke, you know, you still have something to pry it into, and you can pry with it, and you're going to have a sharp edge too.
Yeah, and like you're not going to lose it because it's this big orange thing, and if you have to shank a shark, I'd rather have that than my Pacific Salt.
So you know, with something that's $25, just kind of use your imagination. You know, get out the spray paint, get out, you know, whatever it is, put a sharp edge on it, create a nice tip on it, and then just use it for certain things. And you know, be wise. You know, you don't know if this thing were to snap. You want to make sure that your body is safe and whoever's filming is safe. But ultimately, for, you know, $25 shipped, I think you got a good buy on your hands. So this is Hisatsu 5 and Matthew Culbertson. Have a wonderful day.